Hi, my name is Trysta Hilton, and today we're going to be talking about the language of music. What is musical language? Musical language is constructed languages built by sound, using different tones and pitches to articulate emotion. The use of musical language to enhance a story plot or create certain emotions or feelings by the listener is very often done in films, ballets, orchestra pieces, and more. In order to accomplish this goal, composers use standard elements of music and properties of sound. Musical elements play a large role in creating a mood for the listener. Italian terms or symbols are used to instruct the performer on how loud, soft, fast, or slow they should play or sing. Here are the basic dynamics and Italian terms and abbreviations for the loudness or softness of a piece. First is pianissimo, which is very soft. Piano, which is soft. Mezzo piano, which is moderately soft. Mezzo forte, which is moderately loud. Forte, which is loud, and fortissimo, which is very loud. And their abbreviations can be found right next to their names. To change these dynamics, composers use these terms and symbols. Crescendo, which is symbolized by a greater than sign, meaning growing louder. Decrescendo is symbolized by a less than sign and means growing softer. Within the musical language is a sound's pitch, which is highness or lowness of a sound, determined by the frequency of vibrations. Pitch is what differentiates a bass from a tenor or a soprano, and what makes each key on a piano distinct. As the keys move up the scale, the pitch becomes higher, and as they move down the scale, the pitch becomes lower. Our ears can actually identify songs by their pitch, but if a familiar song is played incorrectly, the pitch will sound distorted, and our familiarity with the intended pitch alerts us of its distortion. Another tool used to create mood in the language of music is the tempo, or the rate of speed in which a musical piece is performed, which is measured in beats per minute. The Italian tempo markings on a music piece are listed in order from slowest to fastest. So we have adagio, which is very slow, andante, which is a moderate walking pace, moderato, which is a moderate pace, allegro, which is fast, and presto, which is very fast. These markings tell the performer what rate to perform the piece and may change pace throughout the piece when building up to or down to the desired mood that the composer wants listeners to feel. A Chinese study done at Southwest University showed that tempo does indeed create an impact on the listener's mood and emotional experience. Fast music evoked a positive reaction for its listeners, while medium-paced music evoked the strongest emotional arousal and lowest emotional reactiveness. Here is an example of the song A Christmas Wish, which is sang in a faster tempo, evoking a more happy, excited emotion onto listeners. Again, that was an example of a song sang in a faster tempo to evoke a more positive emotion from listeners. Next is articulation. Articulation is how the segments of music are joined together by their notes. It is the transition that appears in between the notes. Articulations definitely contribute to emotional responses people have to music. Some common articulations are staccato notes, which are short with lots of space between them. The tempo and rhythm stay the same, but these notes sound shorter than written due to the extra space between them. Another is the legato, which is the exact opposite of staccato, in that there is no space between the notes at all. The performer will, however, create a slight but obvious break between the notes. Here is the legato and staccato notes pictured. Here is an arch-like symbol for legato, which is representing the notes being played smooth and connected. Here are staccato notes, which are, you can see dots underneath the notes, and are played in short separated, like you see those are short and separated notes. Another part of musical language are beats, which are regular underlying pulse in music. Along with beats come accents, which is an emphasis on a beat or a note by playing it louder or longer. Syncopation is a temporary disruption of the regular accent pattern by accenting weak beats or between beats. Here pictured is an example of putting emphasis on a beat with 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So see, the numbers are capitalized, representing putting an emphasis or an accent on that beat. Here is meter, which is how beats are organized into regular groups called measures. There are 3 types of basic meters. There's the duple meter, which is 2 beats per measure, a triple meter, 3 beats per measure, and a quadruple meter, which is 4 beats per measure, and this is the most common. Here is a picture of the simple time signatures of duple, triple, and quadruple meters. As you can see, in a duple meter, 2s are set on top, noting that there are 2 beats. And here are the notes determining what beats that's being played on. For example, half, quarter, and eighth. Those are the notes that those beats are being played on. Next is melody, which is a tune united forming of single pitches. A cadence is a resting place at the end of a phrase, like punctuation marks, but for music. A phrase is a segment of melody ending with a cadence. A theme is a melody used by a composer as a building block. An example of a melody is this familiar tune that you've probably heard as a child.
I bet you $1 million that you could learn piano. If it takes you longer than 3 minutes to learn a song on piano, you...
That was a basic and familiar melody to many people because it has that familiar tune that you've probably heard a lot as a child. Next is harmony, which is the construction of chords and their relation to one another. A chord is 3 or more tones sounding together, and tonality is organization of a piece around a central note, scale, and chord. Scales determine the key. Here is a musical example of harmony and how it sounds. Next is texture, which is the relation of melodic and harmonic elements of music. Monophonic is one melodic line without accompaniment. An example of this is a single performer or group singing in unison. Polyphonic are 2 or more melodic lines sounding at the same time. An example of this would be different singers or instruments playing melodic lines at the same time. Homophonic is melody with accompaniment. This is a singer singing a song accompanied by a guitar or other instruments. In conclusion, all the elements of music discussed put together the language of music. This is a very significant part of the construction of music and why some songs sound the way they do. Thank you for listening.